We're going to begin with you, Vice President Biden, for this part. Just across the street, as you mentioned at the top of the debate, is a theater where 9 people were shot and killed inside the Mother Emanuel Church. We all remember that day back in 2015. And every day in our country, over 100 people die from gun violence.
Yeah, so this number is a flat-out lie. Based on the breakdown of the total number of gun deaths a year, over 100 people dying from gun violence is impossible. 40,000 people died from gun deaths in 2018. 40,000 divided by 365 is 109. 65% of those gun deaths were suicides, not gun violence. You don't call someone killing themselves with a rope violence. That means, at most, the number of people who die from gun violence, i.e. someone shooting at someone else, daily is 39.
You all have plans, I know, on this stage to address the gun crisis, but Congress has not been able to pass a major gun legislation in a quarter of a century. And just think about this. In those 25 years, we've had Columbine, Newtown, Parkland, Las Vegas. We could go on and on.
We're also a country with the 3rd largest population in the world with the highest concentration of guns in the hands of civilians in the world. We naturally are gonna have more mass shootings than countries that don't allow their citizens to own guns and have a fraction of our population. And even with the American people having access to firearms and having the 3rd largest population in the world, mass shootings make up less than 1% of shootings in this country. 225,000 people die each year from medical malpractice. And we're talking about mass shootings.
Vice President Biden, I want to start with you. Why should anyone have faith that you're the one who can get this done now?
Because I'm the only one that ever got it done nationally. I beat the NRA twice. I got assault weapons banned. I got magazines that could not hold more than 10 rounds in them. I got them eliminated, except we had a thing called an election with hanging chads in Florida, and it was not reauthorized.
The ban Biden is referring to had what was called a sunset provision, stipulating that the ban would automatically expire after 10 years unless renewed by Congress. Congress didn't renew the ban because it was wholly unpopular, and it was found to have little to no effect on decreasing gun violence. Not to mention, this ban was part of the crime bill, which resulted in the mass incarceration that disproportionately affected African Americans. Yet, this is the same Biden claiming to be the best candidate for African Americans, while bragging about getting a law passed that was responsible for disproportionately throwing black people in jail. That's cold-blooded.
In addition to that, I passed the Brady bill with waiting periods. I led that fight.
Waiting periods are literally the dumbest law on the planet. Why Biden is bragging about them is beyond me. There's literally no evidence that waiting periods help save lives, but there is evidence that they do get people killed. In 2015, a New Jersey woman applied to get her permit so that she could buy a gun to protect herself against her crazy ex-boyfriend. New Jersey was notorious for purposely taking exceedingly longer than the required 30 days, and sure enough, the ex-boyfriend fatally stabbed her to death before her permit was approved. And she had just inquired about that permit a few days ago, and they were just sitting on it.
But my friend to my right and others have, in fact, also given to the gun manufacturers absolute immunity. Imagine if I stood here and said we give immunity to drug companies, we give immunity to tobacco companies. That has caused carnage on our streets.
Mumblemouth Joe is a certified liar. Gun manufacturers don't have absolute immunity. If a gun manufacturer puts a defective gun on the market that results in a death, they can be sued. However, you can't sue a gun manufacturer because someone used their gun to kill someone. It's no different than not being able to sue Porsche because David found out his wife was cheating on him, so he decided to run his wife over with his Porsche 911 GT2 RS. This is a red herring. No industry is held responsible for the crimes of other people committed with their products. But Joe wants to destroy the Second Amendment by destroying the gun industry by allowing anyone to sue any company where some criminal uses their gun to commit a crime. Joe is a mumble-mouth liar.
150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability. More than all the wars, including Vietnam, from that point on. Carnage on our street. And I want to tell you, if I'm elected and I'm coming for you and gun manufacturers, I'm going to take you on and I'm going to beat you. I'm the only one who's done it.
Joe, 2007 was 13 years ago. There are 30 to 40,000 gun deaths a year in this country. If there were 40,000 gun deaths every year for 13 years straight, that would be 520,000 people. So can someone please explain to Mumble Mouth Joe that 150 million people is nearly half the US population? 520,000 isn't even in the same planetary system as 150 million people. This is ludicrous. But here's the crazy thing. I promise you, one day I'm gonna be out having a drink and socializing, and a conversation about guns will undoubtedly come up, and someone is gonna say, did you know that since 2007, 150 million people have died from gun violence? Look, let's be clear. Mumble Mouth Joe isn't winning, but the damage of misinformation and flat out lying is already done. Now millions of people in our country literally believe 150 million people died because of guns. So when I do a video like this, it isn't because I think Joe is gonna win, it's because I have to counter this false information with real information, because understand, everyone on that stage is anti-gun, and at some point, one of them will be president. So it's our job to inform as many people about this right as possible, so these clowns don't get into office and manipulate the scores of people in this country with voting power to give up their rights. Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can do this by leaving a comment, sharing this video, and click the bell and subscribe button. Let my voice be your voice, and let them know you want to keep America tactical. Because the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed wasn't a suggestion, it was a directive. Also, if you're wondering where to get your I will not comply, I lost all of my guns in a boating accident, the AR-15 is protected by the Second Amendment, and your state-specific Keep America Tactical shirts, click the links in the description section of this video.